Thanks for joining me this afternoon. I'm Emma Bickley, and we have an important story to tell you. I want to talk to you about the Galilee School. Do you know about it? It's a registered independent secondary school, and it delivers positive learning outcomes for disengaged and vulnerable young people between the years of year 7 and year 12 here in the ACT. It's a magnificent way for young people who have encountered barriers to their education to overcome these in a safe space with people who understand what they need in order to learn. Now, Tim McNevin is the principal of the Galilee School. He's been quoted as saying the Galilee School has emerged as a transformative force, offering a second chance and for many the best chance to reconnect with learning and find success not just within the school gates, but also in life beyond. He is nodding enthusiastically. He's here in the studio. Tim joins us. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon.
Great to be here, Emma.
Now, when I hear that, I am filled with hope for those kids for whom mainstream school just wasn't able to do it. Can you tell us a little bit about how the Galilee School works?
Absolutely. I think that word hope is a great way to start. Many of our young people join us at Galilee School, and their hope in the future has been eroded. Not through any fault of their own, and not necessarily by the fault of others, simply by the lived experience that they've had through their life and through their experience of education. And so what we describe them as, they are yet to thrive. We believe absolutely in the potential that exists in every single young person. And if they're placed in the right environment, with the right range of supports, with the right level of patience and understanding and care, that those young people can find success. And they find it with us through our model of teaching, learning, and very importantly, support that recognises the struggles and the challenges that they face, meets them where they're at, builds trust as a foundation for relationships, and through that journey, we help them to recast, perhaps, their perceptions of themselves, and that hope for the future is re-established. And through that, a momentum and a justification for re-engaging with learning is also established. And it's a powerful journey.
I once heard someone say that humans are all just doing the absolute best they can at any point with the circumstances that have been handed to them. And when you said just then that you meet them where they're at, to me that really speaks to this idea that, mainstream school can't necessarily do that. There's a point at which you need to be at, you need to be involved, you need to be paying attention, you need to be concentrating. But how does the Galilee School take that and change it and build in a flexibility that allows you to meet the students where they're at?
I think, first of all, I really celebrate the ACT education system broadly.
Of course.
It's a fantastic system, and we see ourselves as partners in that ecosystem.
Yep.
But having said that, as you say, mainstream education is not for everybody.
Yep.
So our model of education is different in a number of ways. We have smaller class sizes. So it's rare that our classes will exceed 12 students, 12 to 15 students. Within that class, there are typically 2 to 3 staff. And so we're maintaining and able to maintain a much lower staff to student ratio. And as a mother described the journey of her daughter at Galilee School feels seen and she feels heard. And it's that sense of identity and the belief that she is being understood and people are reaching out towards her and perhaps looking beyond the behaviours to see the message that they are trying to communicate. Every young person at the school has what we call an individual learning plan, and that's about activating a conversation that seeks to hear from the young person their hopes for the future. Now, some of them can't see very far into that future. That's okay. But inviting them into that conversation, giving them agency and voice, and listening to that in a respectful way, demonstrates to the young people the care and the sincere concern that we have for them.
And I dare say that your approach has to be holistic, where, and again, the mainstream schools, we can take that as read, that they are doing a wonderful job in a lot of ways. But for these particular students, it's not the approach that will work. So we take that as read and we say that what you're doing is a holistic look at the entire person,
Mm.
what the person needs.
Mm.
What does that look like on a day-to-day basis in the classroom?
It can vary, and I think that's the important part of our model as well. It's an individual approach. And in the classroom, what we're dealing with is not just presentations in the classroom. We're dealing about the experience that that young person has had that morning prior to coming to school, what might have happened in their world that night, what might be happening broadly in the areas outside of the school. Sometimes that can be a challenging domestic environment. Sometimes that can be challenging personal relationships. Sometimes they're processing things in a way that is difficult for others to understand. And that's particularly true for young people who may have been affected by traumatic past experiences, for example. The way some of those young people can react and respond to direction or engage with anyone in positions of authority can be particularly confronting.
Yep.
But what they're trying to do is communicate.
Yes.
And so we provide a model that allows them to express themselves. But first and foremost, we seek to establish an environment that is built around safety and respect. And each young person, over time, learns to understand that Galilee School is a safe place. And it's that sense of safety that helps them feel comfortable enough to start to think about those behaviours that might be models of communication, and perhaps to explore where there are other ways of communicating. And through that journey, they're not only building relationship with our staff, but they're building a level of self-awareness that allows them to navigate the complexities of life in a new way.
My guest this afternoon is Tim McNevin. He's the principal of the Galilee School, an opportunity for children, for youth, for whom mainstream school was not the solution, was not the approach that worked for them for education, to get them into a space where learning can occur, to create that safe space, that holistic view of what each individual needs. So how did the Galilee School come about?
This year is actually our 25th anniversary as a registered school in the ACT. Prior to that, it was established by a group of like-minded organisations in the Canberra community who saw the need to provide an alternative level of and model of support, particularly for young men who were homeless and unemployed. From those humble beginnings, the school was established in 1999 and first registered as a school in 1999. It exists on 2 campuses in Canberra and Holder, and the Canberra campus was the beginnings of the school. Much effort, much collaboration and much community investment led to the development of the school, and then devastatingly it was virtually destroyed in the Canberra bushfires of 2003.
Yeah.
And just today I've come from a luncheon where we've had the founding people who established the school sitting down to lunch with some of our current school leaders and school staff to share those stories and the perseverance and the vision of those early pioneers of the school still exists in the culture of the school today. In 2011, Galilee incorporated, merged with Communities at Work, and since 2011, Galilee School has flourished under the support and governance of Communities at Work, one of Canberra's largest not-for-profits in the ACT. And now we have 2 campuses, as I said, in Canberra and in Holder. And about 3 or 4 years ago, we expanded to include years 11 and 12. And we think that's a very important part of our evolution because so many of our young people were, as you say, reconnecting with learning, redefining themselves as a learner and graduating year 10. And then they wanted to continue. And they were trying to go back to other settings, other mainstream colleges, but they just weren't yet able to navigate that journey. And so it was unfinished business. And our moral imperative as a school was to seek to do something about that. And then with the support of the Communities at Work and the board and the staff and the community of the school, we established our senior secondary college. And now, this year, we will graduate our 3rd cohort of Year 12 students, who for them and their families, that credential will be life-changing and alter their trajectory post-school.
It absolutely will. I mean, we often have conversations about how finishing school, your marks at school is not the be-all and end-all. But when it's a choice between the direction that some of these young people would have taken and the finishing of their Year 12 certificate, it's a huge change in the trajectory and a change in their own self-confidence. What are some of the great stories that surely must come out of the Galilee School? Can you tell us, even if you can't mention specific details, about some of these success stories?
There are many, and we celebrate every single one of them, and I regard our young people as heroes for what the adversity that they overcome. A couple that come to mind. There was one young lady, she joined us in about year 8, and she sat down with staff and she said to them, "Don't try to teach me mathematics. Everybody else who has tried has failed."
Yes.
So that described not only her journey in education, but it described how she felt and regarded herself as a learner.
Of course.
Last year, she graduated year 12 with us. And on the whiteboard at school, on the day that she graduated, she wrote, "I am a mathematician."
That's so great.
Excuse me. The transformation is
Yes.
what we celebrate,
So great.
and how they start to regard themselves differently.
And I bet there are naysayers in the community. There are people that are like, they should just, they should have more discipline and they should do this. So, there's people that say things like that. When you hear a story like this about the girl who tried at all those schools and couldn't get the mathematics to click or didn't want to, and then went on to become, in her own words, a mathematician, what do you want to say to those naysayers who think, well, everyone should just straighten up and go to a normal school?
I say to them, regardless of who we are and what age we are all in the process of becoming. Whatever our future holds, we are all on that journey, and we will all face adversity.
Yep.
And we are all in this together.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the more we can suspend judgment, the more we can look at the good and the potential that resides in everybody, that'll be good for me in the way I regard others. It'll be good for them for the way they feel accepted, and it'll be good for us as a society and a community to flourish.
What a perfect answer. Did you script that beforehand? A perfect answer there from Tim McNevin, the principal of the Galilee School. Very quickly before I let you go, you have an open day coming up.
We do, on the 20th of June in the afternoon from 3:30 to 5:30. That time's been chosen really specifically for those who have other school pickups. They can come directly there, and those that have work commitments can also be accommodated. It'll be at our Canberra campus, and it's an opportunity for those in the community who maybe have heard of us but want to learn more to come and meet with staff of the school and to get a sense of who we are and how we go about what we do. And perhaps those who have never heard of us and might be interested to learn more to also come along. Details of the open day are on our website, and they can also be connected with the school by contacting the school at any time.
What's the website?
Just put Galilee School into your search engine, it'll find it. We're on Facebook as well, and the phone number for the school is 6293 6314.
Sensational. Tim, I appreciate your time this afternoon for telling us about the work of the Galilee School, and I hope that maybe even if one person listening out there needs services like that of the Galilee School for their child, for themselves, that they will get in touch, that they will go to the open day. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Emma.
Tim McNevin there, he's the principal of the Galilee School. You're listening to Afternoons on ABC Radio Canberra.